Hello, good day. Welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Abubakar Ali, and today we'll be talking about the sanctions that the United States said it will impose on certain individuals and organizations as part of the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by the President of the United States, Donald Trump. You will recall that after the designation by President Trump, there was a resolution tabled before the United States Congress, which actually resolved or proposed to apply sanctions to certain individuals and organizations who it alleged are sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria. So actually, it's something to think about. You recall that over the last few days, a lot of us, including yours truly, have actually been, pushing the narrative that actually it's not only Christians that are being killed, that the Muslims are actually, more Muslims are killed than Christians. So it is the decision of the President of the United States to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern is actually misplaced. It was done in error. There were no targeted killings of Christians. The current insecurity, terrorism in Nigeria has no religious coloration. These are just criminals, and they just go about killing whoever they deem fit, whatever they like, basically, because our government is very, very weak. Our government in Nigeria cannot protect even itself. What more of protecting its citizens? There is absolute failure by the government in terms of protection of lives and property. Absolute. So now the other part of it, which is our topic today, is on this sanctions that the resolution by Senator Ted Cruz proposed to apply to certain individuals and organizations in Nigeria. So this is actually a big shame to our country. A big shame in the sense that Nigeria, with all its resources, cannot identify, cannot arrest, cannot prosecute, cannot convict these alleged sponsors of terrorism. At the last count, sometimes this year, about a few months ago, the outgoing or outgone Chief of Defense Staff said they were going to name the sponsors of terrorism. That was not done until he left office a few weeks ago. Before that, I could recall during the late President Buhari administration, there was even money voted to prosecute about 500 terror suspects, Boko Haram suspects, and that never came to light. Actually, to the contrary, government is rehabilitating, as they call it, rehabilitation and reintegration. They are rehabilitating and reintegrating terrorist suspects of terrorism in Nigeria, Boko Haram suspects. As a matter of fact, some of these suspects even deny this offer. They reject this offer. Yes, some of them say they want to go back to the bushes. That's how serious it is. that a government who should prosecute, who should convict these terrorism suspects is sitting down and spending so much money. About 2.4 billion naira was spent by Borno State in rehabilitation within a year, in rehabilitating these Boko Haram suspects, when they should have been taken to court and prosecuted for crimes against humanity. The Nigerian government keeps telling us that they have a list of sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria. For more than 10 years now, that list has been there, and they have not been able to release that list. They have not been able to name and shame those sponsors. Now we have to wait for another country, the United States, to do this for us, which is as simple as it can be. You have the list of Nigeria has the list. It says, it keeps telling us they have the list of the sponsors of terrorism. They have the list of the enablers of terrorism, and we actually see them. We see some clerics, sheikhs. Sheikh Gumi has never hidden his sympathy and support for these criminals. He has always referred to them as, people who have been shortchanged by the government, people of good character as far as he's concerned, and he's working free. This is Nigeria. He's working free. Before him, there were other clerics. There were people who come out openly to support these bandits and terrorists. There are people that are alleged to be in government. They are alleged to be sponsors. Some of them were actually even costing. They were costed by the security agencies. But we still see them back. Now another country is coming to do the job for us. You will recall there were about 6 people who were alleged, actually convicted now. Then they were alleged to be financiers. They were actually wiring money for Boko Haram. And it took the intervention of Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, before these 6 people were convicted. In November 2020, I actually have their names here. Their names here. On the 10th of November 2020, a court in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, convicted these 6 Nigerians: Surajo Abubakar Muhammad, Saleh Yusuf Adamu. These 2 were sentenced to life imprisonment for their involvement in terrorism financing. They were wiring money for Boko Haram. Ibrahim Ali Al-Hassan, Abdurrahman Ado Musa, Bashir Ali Yusuf, and Muhammad Ibrahim Isa were each given a 10-year sentence. 6 of them. It took the intervention of another country. If they were in Nigeria, they wouldn't have been arrested. Talk less of prosecution and conviction. They wouldn't have been arrested. Because Nigeria has a list now. The government officials keep telling us. Every day they will say, next week they will release the list of sponsors of Boko Haram. Look at the allegations. There were top people in government. Senator Ali Sharif is alleged to be the creator. They say he created Boko Haram. That's the allegation. Okay. Even the vice president, the current vice president, is actually mentioned, Kashim Shettima. Sheikh Gumi is moving about, unchallenged. He was not even questioned. Even when one of his very close confidants, Tukur Mamu, was arrested, is actually in custody now for about 2-3 years for his involvement in ransom negotiation for the victims of the uh, train attack, the Kaduna Abuja train attack, where terrorists abducted several people. He was the go-between. He was the one that was negotiating, and this man is so close to Shaguni. All this is incredible. That a country like Nigeria cannot name, cannot arrest, cannot shame, cannot prosecute these suspects. Some of them are known to everybody. Some of them are known to everybody. These suspects, they are suspects. Of course, in law, everyone is innocent, except proven otherwise by a court of competent jurisdiction. So it has to be noted here that I'm not saying these suspects or these alleged sponsors and financiers and enablers of terrorism are guilty. No. But the fact that the government says it has evidence against them for their involvement in terrorism means or warrants investigation and possible prosecution. They should be arraigned before a court of competent jurisdiction. But here we are. It has now taken the intervention of the United States. The United States has started mentioning names of those they believe are enablers, sympathizers, sponsors of terrorism. They are sponsors of terrorism. The government, Nigerian government, knows them, and Nigerian government cannot arrest them. So, are we saying there is a government in place? Is this a government? When in Katsina, Zamfara, and Kaduna states alone, these three, about 100 people are killed every month. Every month. Then there are people who are alleged to, there are actually people in the Senate, in the Nigerian Senate, that are alleged to be involved in this, and they are working free. There are government officials in the legislature that are alleged to be sponsoring bandits to Hajj. And they are working free. Governors are granting amnesty to these killers. And the federal government is watching. Why is it that only in the northern part of the country you have amnesty for bandits? There are bandits in the southern part. Why is it that there is no amnesty or negotiation with bandits in the southern part of the country? There must be a reason behind it. So you see, this politicization of insecurity, there is a lot of hypocrisy in this. There is so much hypocrisy in this. This is what brought us to this stage. It brought us to this stage. And what the Nigerian government needs to do now is to bring out that list of sponsors of terrorism. No matter how powerful they are, nobody can be more powerful than the government. The primary responsibility of the government, as specified, as encapsulated in Section 14, subsection 2B of the Constitution, Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. The primary responsibility is security of life and property. Security and welfare of the people. That's what the section says. The security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. And here we are. Some people are sponsoring these bandits. Well, the government has not been able to arrest even the bandits, because till now, I have not had one bandit convicted. One. one bandit convicted. And actually, there are reports that in the last 10 years, about 40,000 people have been killed. 40,000, that is huge. Just like that. And we have a government. So this is not good enough. The government, federal government in this case, should release the list of suspects. Anybody who is a sympathizer, who has known to be, it doesn't matter how long before, how long ago, it doesn't matter. Anybody who is linked to terrorism, anybody, you find a lot of them in government. That is the irony of this. A lot of them are in government, they are promoted. You see somebody with a court case in Nigeria, and then the next thing you see, he's been appointed as something, as somebody, somewhere. So government, the federal government should release the list of the enablers, the sponsors, okay, sympathizers of terrorism in Nigeria, either Boko Haram or the Fulani bandits or even the IPOB, ESN, that is alleged to actually be responsible for the carnage in the southeast. Anybody, no matter how highly placed, who is linked to terrorism in Nigeria should be named and shamed and arrested and prosecuted according to the law. That is the responsibility of government. This terrorism is so simple to tackle. But if you have the will, if you have the political will in Nigeria is not there. They are shielding terrorists. They are shielding terrorism suspects. Where a government will offer unsolicited amnesty to killers. In Katsina State now, 5 local governments have been donated to bandits. 5 local governments. Because government said it has entered into what it called amnesty negotiation with bandits. So in 5 local governments. So this is not good enough. This is not good enough. By negotiating with bandits, by shielding sponsors of terrorism, the government is institutionalizing banditry. It is institutionalizing insecurity and kidnapping and killings. It's an institution now. Because they are part of the society. Government is telling them, look, what you are doing is right. Continue. Continue what you are doing. Government should release this list. I keep saying. Government should even preempt the sanctions of the United States. The federal government should release, they said they have a list, release it. These are the sponsors. Arrest them, arraign them before a court of competent jurisdiction. Why is it that the security agents are very fast in arresting protesters? This is a country where we have seen government arrest underage children over allegations of taking part in protests. This year, it happened this year, 2025. Some of them were so malnourished that we almost lost them in detention. They were arrested because they took part in protest, and they were there for months until they were arraigned and the world saw them. This same government that can arrest children over protest, which is their right anyway, it's the right of every citizen to protest. Peaceful protest is a right. It's not a privilege. But the security agents, I learned it was the police who arrested them from Kano and dropped them down to Abuja and just locked them up in Kuje prison. It took the intervention of everybody when they were seen, when those pictures were seen online. Before the government said, okay, they should go home. Now this same government, they can arrest children. They can arrest children over protest. Cannot arrest financiers and sponsors and enablers and sympathizers of terrorism. This is beyond double standard. It's more than double standard. It's more than double standard. You can arrest children, but you cannot arrest adults who are boosting terrorism. You cannot arrest the terrorists. You cannot arrest their sponsors. And you come out to say you are fighting terrorism. Now, it has taken another country to come to your aid, to say, look, if you are not doing it, I hope we are going to do it for you. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm against any sanctions on any state that impose Sharia. Sharia is the right of every citizen. Nigeria is not following the Constitution of the United States. Nigeria is following its own constitution, and Sharia is a constitutional right for every citizen, because Nigeria is a secular state. You can live, okay, according to the dictates of your religion. Everybody has the right to live according to the dictates of his religion. So Sharia is constitutional. Okay, Sharia is constitutional. So the United States cannot dictate to Nigeria regarding what kind of law it should impose. Okay, because Nigeria doesn't go to the United States to tell them, look, this is the law you should follow. So in the same vein, the United States cannot decide for Nigeria whether to impose Sharia or not. No, because Nigeria is a sovereign nation. I don't know where this law came, where these powers came for the US President Donald Trump to unilaterally, attack a nation. I'm against any boot on the ground, any military action on Nigeria by any foreign power, including the United States. I'm against the sanctions on states that impose Sharia, that implement Sharia in their domain. Okay, but the issue of naming and shaming sanctions on individuals and institutions, if Mieti Allah is part of this, the United States should sanction them in visa sanctions, visa restrictions, okay, visa sanctions on some of their finances, restrictions on visa, their finances. I think this is where the United States should start. Individuals in Nigeria who are sponsoring terrorism, since the Nigerian government is not able to do it for 10 years, they have a list for 10 years, they cannot release it because of political considerations. So thank you so much, and we continue to pray for peace in our dear country, Nigeria, and the world at large. Thank you.